Well, hello, welcome or welcome back. So, today I wasn't really sure what to talk about. I'm going to be totally honest, I didn't feel like talking, but I made kind of a little promise to myself that I would be more consistent with these talk videos as well as uploading my art onto my shorts. Um, And the reason why I didn't really feel like talking today is because I've just had a multiple day flare up that was pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and then I thought, you know what, I am going to maybe talk a little bit about some of what I go through, and it maybe might help someone else out there. I came across a lady the other day who, when I was in the middle of my flare, um, I could see she was obviously in pain. She put a little video and said, you know what, she's going to keep going and keep doing her thing. And despite her bad days, and how it was important to show people too that, you know, not everything is all production, fake, glamorous, and beautiful and wonderful and sunshine and lollipops and roses all the time. Because that's not life, right? That really is not life. Um, so after seeing that, I thought, okay, you know what? If she has the strength and courage to do that, then shit, what's my problem? When you do live with invisible illnesses, or even visible, but I'm going to speak about invisible illnesses today because I feel like that there's another element to that, right? That a lot of people don't even know that you may be sick or unwell. And so therefore you almost are forced to put on even more of a mask to the world, and which is to me a little bit of a conundrum. Yeah, I just really dislike that part. But yet at the same time, you feel very vulnerable. You feel very exposed in a way. If you were to walk around showing how you actually feel physically on the inside, right? So it's something that I think sometimes a lot of us who do struggle with these invisible illnesses, whether it be, you know, a mental, emotional, physical, whatever it is, that we are very prone to masking, and we're very prone to feeling embarrassment or even shame around it. And I think a lot of that is because if, you know, we were in a wheelchair, or if we had, you know, disability aids or something like that, that it's sort of a way of showing, you know, like, hey, yeah, no, there is something legitimately wrong. And I feel like a lot of us who have gone through the precursor to diagnosis also go through a special level of hell with the medical industry. I know for myself, because I had started developing symptoms of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome when I was only in my early teens, so which is very rare. And back in that time, I mean, nobody even said the word fibromyalgia. Like it wasn't recognized by any medical establishment and stuff like that. So I had reached out for help and had a bajillion tests and all these things, and year after year, decade after decade, you know, I am like, I feel like I am dying. Like I can't move, like what is going on with me, right? So, you know, they'd run me for tests, and then, oh, there's something abnormal, but we don't know. Or the other thing that would happen would be like, oh, you're crazy. It's just all in your head, you know. And then after a while, you start to get gaslit, not only by the medical industry, but even by people that are close to you who can't fully understand why is it one minute you're able to accomplish like great things, and then, you know, a day later you're laid out flat, and you can't even barely, you know, get up to make a meal, to, getting yourself dressed is an event. It takes every little piece of energy and willpower just to do the most basic things. So then you just kind of start living in this weird, bizarre land world, right? Where you even start to doubt yourself over time, especially if you can't get concrete proof or answers. I kind of think that the parallel to that as well, that's kind of interesting to draw upon, is also the same thing as being intuitive or using your intuition, because we can't always get concrete proof, right? Facts. Then the logical mind is like, well, that must not exist. And so then your intuitive mind and your logical mind are kind of at war with each other as well. And that's something that I also found for myself, that as an intuitive and somebody who really does quite like to draw upon the logic and and then my intuition would kick in, and then there would be that little bit of that war. And then take that as a little step further, as far as another layer to sort of the metaphor, the symbolism of the dis-ease, because I do believe that disease all starts within your energetic body and within your system, and then it manifests itself into the physical world. So I have spent years trying to unlock and uncover my subconscious programming as well, of what is it in my subconscious that isn't at ease, and how can I self-heal that way. And I feel like I have come leaps and bounds from where I once was. Now, the thing about that is, yes, I'm happy about that, and I'm proud of myself in that respect. But at the same time, when you have something that never ever goes away, no matter how hard you work at it, diet, exercise, mindfulness, meditation, oh gosh, like the list goes on, right? There's nothing I haven't, I wouldn't say nothing. There's very few things that I have not tried holistically, medically, all of that stuff, to have a better quality of life. At the end of the day, the best things were, for myself, that I found were keeping stress levels low, reducing anything toxic, whether that be foods, emotional toxicity, doing shadow work, also releasing relationships, people, places, things, all of that stuff that sort of drug me down and put me in a lower state of disharmony. That helped greatly. And by spending a lot of time in nature, which is why I started doing my walkabouts in 2020, I started getting into my photography, and it was actually the walkabouts in 2020 that was the catalyst for me to start to make a big shift in my life in all areas, and also brought me back to my art again. And that's where I have been finding my most peace and the most healing for me, and also finding ways that you can be productive with your own gifts in your own way as well. Because that's one of the biggest challenging things, is if you are considered, disabled. I hate that word, but you know what I'm saying, right? If you have limitations, certain limitations, right? Find those things that you can do, right? So I kind of sat there and I went, all right, what is realistic? What can I realistically do? How much of it can I do? And how can I find the balance within that? And then I had to eliminate everything out of my life that would disturb that balance. And that was my best approach for myself. So What are my time limitations? What are my resources? What am I willing to give? What am I able to give? Right? And I just sort of laid out my own internal parameters and decided, okay, know your limits and play within them. Instead of thinking that, oh, no, this is it, it's going to go away and you're going to have a normal life and everything's going to be fine. Because that place of deep denial was incredibly toxic for me. And that was also really hard on my pride in a way as well. It's only really recently in the last couple years that I have, well, not a couple, but last few years, that I've really come to terms with accepting it. And I do feel that that is something that's very important for anybody living with any long-term barriers, that a lot of times is coming to terms with that and the acceptance part of it. And weirdly enough, that acceptance part of it is also a very powerful part of your emotional healing around it. And I found that the more I'm able to emotionally heal and accept and work within my own parameters, my level of productivity in my good days has exponentially increased as well. And my quality of life within those good days are getting better and better and better. But that being said, it doesn't mean that just like this week, it wasn't a particularly rough little ride this week. So I just wanted to share some little tips, and anybody out there that's going through anything like this and feels like you're alone, you're not alone. Just keep going, one day, one step at a time, and give yourself permission to just be some days, and give yourself permission to not be okay, because that's okay too. And I think that's really important, whether you have a long-term disability or you're just having a rough go of life at the moment. That is too shall pass. So, all right, I'm going to sign off, and I think I'm going to continue to go work on some more of my projects that I got going, and talk to you next time. Bye.